in the class, it's like, you know, when you start learning about, you need to measure TDS for this shot, and then you need to plot it into the brewing graph, and then you need to put in a formula and calculate the extraction percentage. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the real life math. I've been lying to my students for 7 years of what real life math look like, but this is it. I think, like, you know, when you are at school, when you're the teacher, and especially coming from a quite a strong math background as well, and then when you say things and people, they respect you and they really believe in what you're saying, and they, especially for math, you can't argue with that. That's quite a lot of it. It's just the truth that you were teaching. But I think, like, when there were certain customers that I helped them with opening a coffee shop, for example, and they doubt a lot, you know, especially they see you as a tiny short Asian woman that look like a kid. Yeah, they sometimes don't really respect what I'm saying, and then, like, kind of want to help them to open a coffee shop and want to teach them how to make the right coffee, and they don't trust you. Just like, oh, I'm the professional, but you decided to undermine what I'm saying.
Hey, June.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. And
Great.
you?
Yeah, I'm really good, actually. Thank you for asking. Thanks for asking. Thanks for having me. We're at DR Wakefield.
Yep.
Which is your current place of work.
Yep.
So also thanks to them for having us here.
Thanks to you guys.
This beautiful wall of
Souvenirs.
things that is from Origin.
Yep.
Great. But we're here to talk about your journey. I think your story is super extra interesting to me because you actually started out in maths.
Yeah, that felt like 1,000 years ago, honestly.
Yeah. So you studied maths at Oxford and went on to be a teacher.
Yep.
What was that? Tell me about that side of your life.
Wow. I feel like talking about someone else's story. Yeah, I think that was a very natural choice of mine at that stage of life, I guess. Yeah. I'm from China, and I wanted to study in the UK, and I was super geeky at the time and thought like math was the only thing I liked. And yeah, so just getting into uni and do math was kind of like an obvious choice for me. And after I finished math, and I was like, well, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but just feeling like being a math teacher was something, again, very natural. So for me, it just felt like the flow, just follow it.
Yeah. And you were doing that for 7 years?
Yep. And
how did you go, actually, I'm gonna stop this and get into coffee?
Yeah. I think I look back, I enjoyed being a teacher.
Yeah.
But I remember like just hitting September and then just have this like feeling like the chill, like from the autumn, like wind, that you feel like, I feel this chill before. I felt like I felt it many times. And then it just hit me with a bit of fear of like, okay, I'm just going to repeat this until I die. And I feel like I want to do something for myself. And it was also happened to be the year that just after COVID. You know, like COVID, that's definitely is a year that make you rethink your life a little bit and make you feel like, oh, do I really want to live my life like this if I die tomorrow?
Yes.
So kind of got me rethink what I'm really want to do for myself, other than following like almost like a math formula. Just everything should fit in that. So yeah, I was planning to do something crazy that year.
Because I know that was around the time of you, just before you turned 30.
Yep.
If that's okay to chat about.
Biggest secret of the whole podcast, everybody.
And I think that kind of resonates with me as well, because I think there was something about like approaching 30 for me, and I don't know, just started like, even with this whole project, this podcast and everything, I was like, okay, I better start really doing stuff now, because it feels, I don't know, life kind of feels very real.
Yep.
Not that it wasn't before, but sometimes something just clicked for me. Was that a similar thing for you, and like approaching 30 and going?
Yeah, I definitely freaked out, like,
Yeah.
because my birthday's in September, so it's just tying like the beginning of the school year. And then it was literally just around August, and then like I had a burnout from overworking during COVID,
Yeah.
and then also feeling like, oh, I'm going to be 30. I feel like I haven't really done something real, and then going to turn to 30, I just feel like, oh, who am I? Like, just had the biggest like identity crisis.
And I remember when we chatted like a little bit about this before. Like, is there almost like a cultural expectation of what 30 means?
Yeah, you're right. Like I think like coming from growing up in a kind of very traditional kind of Chinese kind of culture, and there's this kind of like expectation of like a woman before you turn 30, you need to have family, you need to have children, you need to have a stable job, and you need to look after your house and all that. There's a lot of expectation on that I felt like, I think maybe when I wanted to actually move to the UK, was kind of subconsciously I want to run away from the culture. I'd kind of bury that feeling for a very long time, and then just before I turned 30, and that just all became really real. And of like, I ran away from it, but it was still part of me, and I just couldn't shake it off, I guess.
So that year when you kind of decided to leave teaching maths, because spoiler alert, there's some more teaching coming down the line. You that summer were kind of like trying out lots of different new things. Is that right?
Yeah.
What was that time like?
Oh my gosh. That was a crazy month. That was like the just after like lockdown, when remember like that summer, it's like if you actually need to fly anywhere, you have to have like 2 weeks of quarantine here, and then like another week of quarantine there. And then literally like my whole summer holiday, like as a teacher, it wasn't even enough for the quarantine on anywhere. And then I was like, but I don't want to waste it. It was, I want to do something. I want to find out what I wanted to do for myself. And then I literally signed up for like 4 or 5 different new experiences for myself. And I need to find something that worked for me.
What were they? If you don't mind telling the whole world, that'd be great.
It was quite a lot of different things. So I did a barista foundation course with Artisan Coffee School, and then I signed up for a street dance teacher training course, because I was quite into street dance at the time.
Fantastic.
I did that, and then I also signed up for actually a documentary making diploma from a National School of Film and Television, but they
Incredible.
do like a part-time thing. And then just really random courses, but this feel like the main ones.
So we were for the first time learning coffee, dance, documentary. A great summer.
I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Like I think like I have to say, like for me, like if like a holiday resting, if I'm just sit there and do nothing, I can't. I actually get really insecure. So I think like just learning and meeting friends and just keeping myself busy feel like very productive rest for me.
I mean it's a very productive way to get through at this time of like change in your life, right? Because it could be easy to be like just overwhelmed by what's next and what am I gonna do, but you were kind of just throwing yourself into these different big things to be learning about, right? So how did you choose coffee out of those of those possible careers?
Well, I think that the dance thing was a clear no, just because like my knee hurt so much after that. So I was like, wow, turning 30 means I'm probably a bit too old to actually do this kind of physical thing. So that was a very clear no to me.
Okay. That one's ruled out.
Yeah, ruled out. And then like the documentary was fun, but I just feel like it's a bit hard to see it as a career. I just feel like just don't see that like leading anywhere. Still enjoy it. But the coffee one was just like really obvious. It was just like in the class, it's like, when you start learning about, you need to measure TDS for this shot, and then you need to plot it into the brewing graph, and then you need to put in a formula and calculate the extraction percentage. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the real life math. Like I've been lying to my students for 7 years of what real life math looked like, but this is it. And it was just so great. It was really good. And I loved it. And then afterwards, I was literally daydreaming, like for days of like, oh, I really want to use this. I want to share this with people. And I kind of feel like, wow, people are so happy after good coffee. I want to share that. And just that's how I feel like, okay, I start to really visualize like a coffee shop.
Because it sounds like it was at a time in your life when you'd kind of were looking for, okay, what can I actually kind of get passionate about again, and looking for a bit of like more purpose than what you were doing the same thing every year. Do you think coffee gave you that drive?
Yeah, I definitely feel like that. I felt like for a very long time I hadn't felt so excited about something. Maybe it's just caffeine kicking in, honestly. Just thinking about that with a coffee, and just maybe that as well. But yeah, I was just really excited. I'm just like that kind of like, I close my eyes and I actually can see physically what a coffee shop looks like was mental. And I just and also saw myself making my coffee, and then I pulling a latte art, and then I want to give that to a customer that come every day and tell them, you got this today. And it felt really real. Like when I was daydreaming, I felt I was physically doing that.
That's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So it was December 2021 when you finished at the school for the last time.
Yeah.
And then there was not really any time to rest, because you were January 2022, keys to the shop and straight in there. Like, how did you get used to that transition of going from this like quite a rigid routine of teaching, and also you were just before you left that you were kind of up for promotion for like head of department and everything, right? So it was like it's a big time to go, actually, no, I'm gonna go and do this other thing that my heart desires.
I think like I wasn't tempted at all for that head of department kind of promotion, I think. But honestly, the first few years of like working as a teacher, that was all I was driven to be. Like I just showing a lot of initiative here and there, just really want to be promoted. And then but after the burnout, and then when they kind of mentioned about this, and I would just really genuinely feel really dry inside, and I just feel like I'm not feeling alive about this idea. So before I actually handed my own notice, I actually went part-time. And then I was actually volunteering at a local charity cafe first. So because I was just like, if I want to open a coffee shop, I need to understand how to make coffee, and I care about, I want to know how to do it. So I kind of just observing like how people are running their coffee shop. I kind of start feeling comfortable about, chatting with customer and all that. And then so I didn't want to just jump into a coffee shop and have no experience at all.
Sure, yeah. That's smart.
I think I was very lucky. I think that was kind of like having a charity coffee shop just opening at the doorstep. So I was kind of involved with set up the menu and set the price and all that was very helpful.
And around that time as well, when you were visualizing yourself in the coffee shop and the latte art and everything, what do you think your main motivations were for wanting to take this big step?
I think the main drive is really, I just really love the world of coffee. I think that was just, it hit me really hard with that course. It just, it really tasty coffee. Wow, like if you actually steam your milk right, it tastes so sweet and so silky. And then like you literally have a conversation with other people about, wow, this coffee is like this. And you really feel that sharing in the community there that I'm just really drawn.
Yeah. And you were like really trying to build community in that shop as well. Which, by the way, sorry, I've just completely skipped to the shop being open. Was called Black Cat.
Yes.
Yeah, which when you told me that as well, I was like, oh, your Instagram name makes so much sense now. I was like, yeah, perfect. You were building community, sorry, in the shop. How did you go about doing that? And why did you want to do that? Because you could have just been like, I'm just going to serve really tasty coffee.
Yeah, I mean that's important too, like
very
tasty
important.
coffee.
And you were doing that.
Thank you. I think it's like I really love people, and I think that's something that like I enjoy my teaching job the most. Is I genuinely really love my friendship with my students, and I think that was definitely part of me, that I just love that human connection, and definitely after COVID again, it just like make me feel like I'm craving that myself. And I know that a lot of people will appreciate just a hub where you can just go there and you make friends with people that with like mutual interest and have fun together. And that was kind of like what I really wanted for Black Cat is not only that it's a place that, you know, that you can get the perfect coffee in the morning, but also at the weekend you can go there, meet your friends, you can play board game, and also for like really not like famous independent artists, and have a place to promote their work, to play their music, and a place that they can have a laugh together. And I just want to create a space for people.
So you were doing events as well?
Yes.
So live music. What other sort of stuff were you doing there?
Well, the most popular one is club quiz. So instead of pub quiz, it's club quiz. It's every first Saturday of the month.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and then like funny thing is I love being a quiz master. So I kind of like half of it just because I enjoy being there. So I was like, hey, you guys have to come and see me doing crazy quiz. And I was kind of doing that for my student before during COVID. So I kind of make a lot of quizzes during COVID already. And then they're like general knowledge, and then the pop music questions, and then like movie rounds. So the resources were there already. And then I kind of feel like, okay, I know that if I bring it to adults, I'm sure they will enjoy it equally as teenagers.
Probably more.
Actually, more. It was awesome. Yeah.
I mean, when can I come and see you do a club quiz? Can we bring this back in some respect?
Yeah, sure.
Like, I feel like seeing Jean the club quiz master is what I need in my life.
Could do that. I'm not a fair one. I'm not going to pick the answer that I like to be awarded points other than any fact.
That's my kind of quiz.
Fantastic.
The like most creative answer, not the correct answer.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Correct.
Can't wait. We're making this happen.
Sounds good.
I think from when we've talked before, like the kind of impact you were having on customers' lives, like became quite clear to you in the time that the shop was open.
Yeah.
Which I know we talked about some kind of quite emotional stories before, which I think just I wanted to highlight because it just shows how important coffee shops are to customers,
Yeah.
and how much of a part of their life like you became and the shop became, and and how powerful that is.
Yeah.
Are you comfortable sharing some of those
Yeah.
experiences?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I will start with the happy one first.
Okay.
Yeah, it was really sweet. I think like some of the customers now remain really good friends that we hang out regularly, and that was really special. Yeah, we actually have some customers that like we know them from, when they just started dating to they get married.
Wow.
And then we also see people that like, they just got married and actually went through the whole pregnancy at our coffee shop. And then we also have like some friends that they actually have like postpartum depression, and then they kind of spend a lot of times in our coffee shop and actually got through that. And we also have like friends that really love being with us, but and then like they share that they are fighting cancer, and some of them actually went through chemo and they were clean. They are okay now. But we also have like one customer, like he's really sweet. And he would come and buy coffee for other people, and when just like, hey, like you have to try Black Cat because they do really good coffee and it's independent. They're really nice people. Come like, and then one day he came and just tell us that he got liver cancer, and have to go through chemo, and that he need to be off caffeine, and then so we start sourcing really good like tea and like hot chocolate, just make sure that when he came there's something nice for him. And then he told us, we finished one chemotherapy and he feel better, and then a few months later he came back and tell us it relapsed, and until like the week that we actually that we told our local friends that we need to close was the week that he got really seriously sick and he actually couldn't come out anymore. And then which literally just a few days before we closed, and then his wife came and tell us that he didn't make it. And then the last day of reopening, his whole family came and was wearing all the merchandise just to see us. And then his daughter came and gave me like a really big hug. Was like, my dad really love you. Like my dad really loved Black Cat, and thank you for being just a really nice memory for his last bit of his time. So that was really special. And then the week after, like they sent me a message saying that like we have a very small funeral, but we really want you to be there. But I actually, like when I saw that message, I just decided like I bought a ticket actually to go back home to actually see my dad and my mom, because I feel like that just made me realize the shop will close, and then like like people will pass, but they're just really important people that you just can't delay seeing. So they really understand that. They're like, yeah, go and see your dad. And so I just went back and spent some time with my family.
Wow.
Yeah,
I mean, that's like being a part of that journey for that family as well, and how much you and what you'd created in the shop meant to them is huge, and like just speaks for the power of like what coffee can do, and like what you'd created there is just incredible. So thank you for sharing, because it's such a like, obviously there's so much sadness in that story, but there's also so much joy in what you brought to their lives. And how was your trip when you went back to see your parents?
It was really special.
Yeah.
I just remember like we spent a lot of good time together and ate a lot.
Great.
Yeah, and then drink a lot of coffee, and we didn't actually spend too much time being sad about things. We just literally ate a lot of Chinese food. It was amazing.
Perfect. As you should. Absolutely. So Black Cat did come to an end. And which it's kind of like one door closing is another one opening of the your journey through the rest of the coffee industry. I have to say, before we talked about this project, I didn't even know that you had a cafe. I was like, I just had assumed from everything I knew of you and where you'd worked, like you'd been in the industry, working in the industry for ages. So, you've done a lot in a short time, I have to say.
Yeah. Party hard.
I don't think you've been doing much partying. You've been working like crazy.
Coffee party.
Coffee party, yeah. So what was the next step for you after the cafe closing?
Again, I think it's just very natural. I was very grateful for this. Like we opened our coffee shop and having like coffees through Curious Roo Coffee Roaster, and then like which is the same owner as Artisan Coffee School.
Which is where you trained?
Yeah, where I was trained. And then like, so I kind of just knew the people there from the beginning, and they taught me a lot. And like, especially like Dean was the head roaster there, and then Kasha was the head of coffee, and they were kind of trainers at that time as well. So they taught me a lot. And then like during the coffee time, they also have been just really looking after me, and the coffee that they gave me was amazing. And then so like after like I closed the shop, and it's the time that I happened to want to look for a new wholesale manager and a trainer that can help like people opening a new coffee shop and train their staff and pick the right coffee. So they were like, oh, do you want to join a team and then just help people that like me before that just didn't know where to start with coffee shop. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. Like, would love to work with you guys. So pretty much immediately after that, then I just got invited to work with Curious Roo. Yeah.
So you were doing wholesale and training from the beginning. And I think like you being kind of fresh out of your experience of opening your own place, and I mean also all of your teaching experience, like that's kind of like a perfect fit in a way for a roastery, because you've got all the teaching experience, but you've also got this like real life experience of knowing how hard it is opening a coffee shop, knowing all of the things that a coffee shop owner is gonna need to know and understand, and you can be there with them and empathize with them, and also train them in this way of what you've been doing for a long time in and out of coffee. So being a maths teacher versus being a coffee trainer, is there a huge amount of overlap?
Quite a lot, actually. It's quite a lot. Which I was kind of know that there would be some overlap, but like also surprised by how much that I used before was really good for this job as well. Like of course you explain a lot of numbers, like the extractions and the recipe, and then the even you just explaining even the extractions and all that was kind of a simpler math than like quite a lot of the complicated formulas that you have to teach. But it's just like, giving a scenario for the barista to understand why, not just like, okay, you just need to do 1 to 2. And there's no room to change that. It's like, no, like sometimes you don't have to do 1 to 2 with the espresso. You can do like a ristretto if you want to get a different character. You can do a lungo. If like customers looking for like a different kind of attributes on that, then you can do that too. But you have to understand why and the consequence of doing that as well. And then like and I just like also with the owners as well. I just be able to empathize where they are. I think for them was quite reassuring, but also teaching them how to be also like compassionate to their like staff as well. I come from that point of view because I've been an owner, but also I work behind the bar every day as well. So understand that kind of like you can really get really rough day serving customer, and then just be able to not just picking on your staff, but really know how to support them. And also like understand why the learners struggle, and then how to overcome that was kind of quite a lot of things that I feel like I felt very comfortable and feel very meaningful when I was in the training room. Yeah.
Yeah. And when you going back to when you were teaching maths, I mean, you were teaching quite a wide variety of. You weren't just teaching the one age. You were kind of teaching, from year 7 to year 11, and then doing extra stuff as well. I mean, in both jobs, you were like an expert in your field, right? But what do you think, was there like a difference in how you were perceived by like the students when you were in school, and then like kind of people that, can we say students in coffee? The people you were training in the coffee world. Was there a difference in perception of how you were received?
Yeah, definitely. I think like, when you are at school, when you're the teacher, and especially coming from a quite a strong math background as well, and then when you say things and people really hold you, like they respect you and they really believe in what you're saying, and they, especially for math, you can't argue with that. That's quite a lot of it. It's just the truth that you were teaching. But I think like when there were certain customers that I helped them with opening a coffee shop, for example, and they doubt a lot, especially to see you as a tiny short Asian woman that looked like a kid. And then so like I just feel like they sometimes they don't really respect what I'm saying, and then like and just and sometimes I really come from a professional point of view and kind of want to help them to open a coffee shop and want to teach them how to make the right coffee, and but they don't trust you, and then they kind of just like they ignore what you are doing for them. It's just kind of like leaving them just like, oh, I'm the professional, but you decided to undermine what I'm saying and repeat the same mistake, and then they come back to us and say that like this is like your quality issues. It's not like my skill issue, and it was just quite frustrating sometimes.
I would imagine it's like super. I mean, it's frustrating anyway, whether you had this teaching background or not. But I can kind of see that for you, being in this environment, be it doing so well in maths and teaching, a wide range of kids in school, and being like perceived as an expert, and then kind of trying to translate that into the coffee world, which would kind of, you should just be perceived in exactly the same way, that like people are coming to you to learn from you and to get, I mean, also your expertise is helping them literally have a livelihood and like run their business, so it should be actually respected more in a way. That must just be super frustrating. How do you push through that? Because it's quite must be quite hard to keep going back and doing that again and being like, oh, I'm kind of being undermined again.
Yeah, I think like it just, I think that definitely I learned a lot about like there are different audience there, like for education, for coffee education. So there are like with the customers that, or so if they they really stick to what they believe in. Like for example, like there were times that there are they're complaining about the coffee being too acidic and there are too many bubbles, and then like it was just customers are complaining the flat whites are just too bubbly, and they have to refund them. And then I did like investigation. It was literally because of the coffee was not rested. It was literally roasted today, and then they kind of just brewed the next day on espresso, and then the milk was skim milk, and then the milk was steamed too hot. So it's just all of that together, and I kind of just explained to them, like maybe you can double up your order this week, and then you don't have to order, like, and then you just you need it. You have coffee. You need to get through coffee. You get through that. but at least like this week's coffee, you can use it next week or even the week after, and then you don't have to order it. Like when you are completely running out, you can always keep a little bit behind so you can make it rested. And I said, like, you buy this skim milk coffee for this price. What about you can replace this with similar price with a full fat? And then like, okay, so should be the temperature for the milk. If you want to have extra hot, sure, like, but you can explain to your customer, if extra hot, this will happen. So they you communicate with them, you expect that. And so they still keep coming back and just not wanting to do that, and they say no, just your coffee is faulty. And then so like for me, I'm just like, okay, like let's work on it. Let's work together with a solution. Here's an extra bag of beans that I give to you. Put it aside. Try this. This is on me. And then 2 weeks later, try this, and you tell me the difference. And then and then we send them like a milk broker and just help them to get a good deal. They can get this really good quality milk with no compromise with price. And then I offered even to help them to run a 1 to 2 hour shift alongside their head barista, just to make like creamy flat white for them without those horrible bubbles, and just keep persisting and until they want they want to make a change. But there were times that I was at the fault. I was at the wrong. I wasn't right all the time, and I think that's something that as coffee educator that I have learned to be quite humble. That not because I'm the professional, I'm right all the time. Like coffee science, quite a lot of times that we prove that something you believe that was right maybe 2 or 3 years ago, that you really strongly believe in that, you kind of down people's throats. This is what you should be doing, and then 3 years later, like, oh gosh, I was wrong. That could happen too. So I feel like sometimes just back off a little bit can help as well.
Sure. I mean, that's also like a bit of a fine balance of like being able to know yourself as an expert, but also being able to admit that you're wrong. But that's like quite a fine balance to get, because there's also somewhere in between those two sides of the coin that's like maybe this degree of like imposter syndrome and being like, oh, actually maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, which like I think if you are being doubted a lot when you're trying to be the expert in these situations, that can like reinforce that sort of, imposter syndrome side of things, and you having to go, actually, no, I do know this, and so it's like a fine balance, right, to get that right of being able to admit, sometimes things change, and also like backing yourself, which is a hard balance to strike. Around this time you were also getting into competition. Yeah. What was the process like going, I'm gonna compete?
I think the beginning was I was literally just talking about this person actually with my colleague today while sharing his coffee. I'm going to do a name drop, but that's okay.
Of course. Oh my God. We haven't dropped any names so far. So
fantastic. Name
we've got,
shame. Here we
please.
go. Not really a shame. So I went to this workshop because I want to network and coffee, which is something that really amazing about the coffee industry is like a lot of wonderful friends that you get to just make through events, which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
And then I went to this free event, which is like what crazy. It was hosted by organized by Odie Jones from Blossom Coffee Roaster.
Yeah.
And then so it was an event called Been There Done That. Yeah, and then so it was literally like for people that were just remotely interested about competition. They were kind of breaking the kind of like myth about competing, and it was like the guest was like Claire Wallace, who just won Barista Champion that year, and then they got like a few, and they got Sierra as well, who just won Brewers Cup, and then a few seasoned like competitors, and then a few judges there as well. And I just remember like I was there, and then just you're really meeting people, just talking about how they got into it, and then tasting a few of the coffees, and then just feeling like, wow, like really empowering. It just, you should just do it. Like don't wait until you're ready. If you want to learn about something, you should try it. And it was clearly a very successful event. And then straight after that, I signed up for.
Oh, wow, it was a successful event. Very.
Yeah, immediately signed up for UKBC, and I was just like, but now look back, I was just like, wow, when you are like don't know too much, you're really fearless. When you don't know a lot, and I just went in, it was a bit naive and underprepared, but like it was a great experience.
Yeah, I mean, do you think there's an element there of just because did it feel a bit like no pressure because you were going into it like to learn and see how it was? Or did you feel a lot of pressure?
Well, honestly, I think it was definitely. I'm a crazy person. That's why I'm sitting here. I was like, I'm there. I'm going to win. I'm going to win this one.
Okay, fair enough.
And I remember I just like picked my favorite coffee on shelf. I was like, that's the coffee I drink every day. I love this, and I want to tell everyone this is my favorite coffee. And I just brew it, and I was like, and also funny thing at that time, I didn't know too much about like, I didn't know too much about geisha or sidra and things like that.
Fine.
Yeah, and I was just literally, for me, it was just a competition about my favorite coffee, and I just brew it to the level of my favorite customer. He loves it, which means I should win with it. And that was the mindset I went in. And then I see other people's presentation. I was like, oh gosh, there's actually like, you do something to your milk as well. And then you also do like a lot of like, puck prep, sorry. Like, how you actually use like WDT tools on this. And then like, you also like, there's so much going on. I was just like, oh gosh, I was so naive. There's so much about competition that I really wasn't aware of. So it was very humble. I was very humbled after that.
And how did it go?
I was destroyed by like how good everybody else was. And I was just like, wow. Yeah, I was very humbled. But I think like now look back, it wasn't too bad. I think I did okay. But I was definitely thinking like, wow, okay, so now I know what it takes to actually compete.
Well, objectively speaking, how did you do? Apart from your own self-analysis.
Oh yes. I think I was okay. I was like in the middle of like.
But you were in the semi-finals at least, right?
No, the first one I wasn't. The first one I was like kind of in the middle of London Heat, so I didn't get through in the semi-final.
That was 2022?
2022, yeah. That was my first.
And then second time?
Yeah, second time was fantastic. It was like, I know, okay, I finally knew a little bit about like what I should be doing. But to be honest, after 2022, I was like, I'm never going to compete again. I hated this, and just like, it didn't go very well. And like, I was so embarrassed. And then after a few months, I was like, okay, I'm back.
So came back the year after.
Yeah, but the next year was a great year. Like for me, I was a Curious Roo already.
Yeah.
And I was working alongside Kasha and Dean, and I just every day I was inspired by what they do, and then also I knew a lot about like competition beans as well. So I know that like, if I got a budget, how I can maximize the potential. And I learned so much about just coffee variety, coffee processing, how to brew better, how to play with ratio, how to make distill milk, how to and be very curious about signature drinks. So I just reflect a lot on what I didn't do very well in the first one. So the second one, I knew exactly what I should be doing. And then, so I just picked a bean that was a kind of like not too crazy because it's a very small roastery, so we don't have a lot of budget. But I get the best coffee with that budget, in my opinion. Sure. And then I got a really good presentation to go with it. Really tasty, in my opinion. Very tasty signature drink. And I would just have so much great time practicing with Kasha as well.
Yeah.
It was just amazing. Yeah, I had a great time. Yeah.
And what happened that year?
Oh, that year was going really well. I got like the 3rd place on that heat, that London heat.
Yeah.
And then got into semi-final, and then semi-final was at Tate Modern for the first time that year. It was again just such a wonderful experience. I learned so much, had such a great time. I genuinely think my drinks was really tasty. I was happy with the performance, happy with like the drink. Didn't get to the final, but that year, like 2023, the final 6 were seriously heroes. I learned so much from them. So I think like was just a great year of competing for me, from result and from learning from other people.
I mean, that's kind of the whole point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that and to see the growth from entering the first year to then being able to put that into practice. And did you feel like there was like personal growth happening through that process as well?
200%. Like one of the things I definitely realized how big my ego was in the first one, and like my ego got popped big time.
Wow. Okay.
But it was good. I think we need that, just to know that I compete doesn't mean that I'm the best, but I'm there to learn, to grow. So I think like the second time when I went, I was a lot more level-headed. Just like, I'm here to do my best and to learn a ton coming back. And I did. And just had such a great time. I just remember that year of like UKBC was just such a great experience. And also like Grace was the MC for both of them. And like, just like if you know Grace, she's an angel. She's someone that will make you feel like you are the best human being in the world.
Absolutely.
And just like going back on that stage, and she remember me, and just like, Jean, like, you're welcome back. I'm so glad to see you here back, and just taking a genuine interest, and just remember my routine, asking me about like, how I come up with like such a personal drink, or just like, I love that. Just love that experience.
Yeah, big shout out to Grace, because agree, angel.
Hi Grace, if you're listening.
Oh my god. I actually I was with Grace last week, and for the first time we like hung out for the first time properly and went for dinner, and we just went for vegan milkshakes and vegan like fast food. And I left feeling like I'd been drinking beers. Because I was like,
so much dopamine.
Yeah, literally. I was like, oh my god, that was great. Baffled that we'd known each other for years and never done that. So yes, big shout out to her, definitely. So nice to hear as well that she was like a big part of your journey, and just really I wanted to just deep dive into another quite unique part of your story, because you, after Curious Roo, took on kind of quite a unusual challenge in the coffee world, which was a kind of a commodity to specialty role journey, which sounds really exciting. Tell us about that.
So it was from also one of the coffee mentors that I found myself. He's called Andrew. So he used to work for Curious Roo, and then he helped me to open my coffee shop. And then after that, like he basically became the head of coffee for global head of coffee for Joe and the Juice, which is like a massive chain. And then so he's the one that like basically moved the whole coffee quality forward for Joe and the Juice Global. So he changed the coffee from centrally roasted I think in Sweden, and then like ship around the world to actually work with a regional, like a local specialty coffee roaster, and then just to and then work with La Marzocco, partner together to just basically bring the coffee quality to the best. And then so he chose Clemson and Sons, and then basically using like the Terra coffee as well, which is fantastic, like amazing farm in Brazil. And then so he was like, okay, so he wanted to bring someone with a specialty coffee background to work alongside him to move this forward, because in the company just still quite new to specialty, so they don't know how to train people up with like the kind of science and all that. Yeah. And then I was like, oh great, I love a big challenge, I just love that. And then so I was like, yeah, sure, like I will give it a try. So I joined him, and I joined the UK team. At that time, it was just me and the UK coffee specialist. So just basically just two of us actually just want to drive the coffee quality forward. And then so like it was the first corporate job that I have done, and with a massive operation. And I was the only coffee trainer for 75 stores. And
wow,
yeah, it was, so I was around the country a lot, traveling a lot and training like new baristas, training new head baristas, training new stores, helping them with like coffee setups and setting the volume metric for them on the La Marzocco machine, which I absolutely love working with. And yeah, so it was quite an unusual job, but I really enjoyed it and enjoyed the traveling side of things.
I know we've spoken before about there being, well, you were the only woman in the management side of things. In
that operation office.
Yes. Yeah. Was that something that felt like it was an issue at the time?
I have to say the first day at work I was totally shocked. Yeah, so I kind of knew that this is kind of like a very male dominant company. But I definitely went in with a very similar mindset than my first UKBC. I was like, I'm going to go there and prove to them I'm going to win it. But the first day I was just totally shocked. So I was there like I was on the top floor of the UK HQ, which is actually in Soho in Dean Street. And I felt like, it was really cool to actually felt like to be making into that kind of level of operation. But I went up, I was just like, oh my gosh, like everyone in the office, they were all white men. They all above 3 meters tall in my perspective. And it was like mildly intimidating. And there's only one toilet in the office, like literally just next to everybody's desk.
Great.
It was fantastic.
Wonderful.
So that first week I was rough. And like every single time I need to go to the toilet, I have to like go to the cafe one, just because I was just really uncomfortable when I was like sweating most of the time, just because it was, yeah. And I think like because everyone was probably not that used to actually having a female working in the office either, and so it just like was just, yeah, the whole vibe was very, very difficult. But luckily my job was kind of like 90% on the road anyway, so I was kind of between the stores, helping teams to like with the equipment issues, with like any coffee related issues, like kind of trying to win their trust over, so that they can rely on me a little bit, and I can tell them like how they can improve and all that. So yeah, it was really difficult at the beginning, because they're all really high achieving stores. They have a very like good revenue like every day. So for me to come externally to tell them what to do, so I have to be very careful. So I can't just go in and tell them like, you do this wrong, you do that wrong, but just really win their trust over, and then one thing at a time. But it was very rewarding on that level.
Sure. Yeah. And you were also smashing through your targets. So they obviously would have loved you. I think well, you can't make everybody love you, I guess. Even you are a cup of washed Colombian geisha, there were people love you, and then people think that you are a bit under-extracted.
or over-extracted in my case.
That was a fantastic metaphor.
Yeah, I'm definitely a very over-extracted person. High extraction percentage. Yeah, like we have like KPIs for every single store. We call it like the flow score. So what we use the software to attach to the Lamasoko machines. At the end of the day, you get a percentage of how many shots that the barista have pulled between 25 to 30 seconds, which is a recipe. And then so like if you do a really high percentage, which means that like maybe the machine is really well looked after, baristas are trained, and they do a good job. But sometimes at the end of the day, you got like something like 20%. You're like, what the heck's going on? And then like you have to go in and troubleshoot it and all that. So if you help them to improve their KPIs, and then like, you know, you do some magic, and then they feel like you are on their side, they trust you, and they really love you. They want you to be there like for them, and I enjoy that. But there are times that are like, you know, like if in general in hospitality, I think that this is a white elephant. We in the room, we all know that people are quite burnt out. It's a very demanding industry, and then so sometimes to the point that they just don't care, not because it's their personality, it's nothing to do with their inner being, but they're just really tired, and they have other things to worry about first. So the coffee machine cleaning might be the last of their interest. Understandably. So if I'm going in and then I check that, it's because your machine hasn't been bed flush for like maybe a few weeks, or your grinder hasn't been clean, is out of calibration, and that's why your shots were running 78 seconds. You know, like that kind of things. Yes, like you can tell them like you have done this wrong, but it's not the right thing to say at that time, because they burn out. So you kind of want to help them on that level first. But they are just not in at that point to listen to you, to say hated you. They hate you for going there to tell them they have done it wrong. They hate you for pointing this problem out, so that it looks to the management that is, you know, is the lacking of care. Or sometimes the management is not happy about you because, you know, you are trying to genuinely pointing something legit that they can improve on, but it takes a lot of time, a lot of money. So instead, they probably don't want to change that, so they save a ton of money, compromising a very small problem.
Yeah. And also just to highlight that that's why you were hired, is to go and do that. Right? That was literally your job.
Yeah.
Was it that sort of non-respect for the art of coffee that you love and are so passionate about that kind of made you decide to leave, or was it kind of the culture, or what do you think was the reason?
It's quite a bit of a mixture as well for this one. I think I genuinely really want to love that job. Like I don't really want to jump around jobs and all that. I want to be loyal and all that. But it was a mixture of like, I feel like I hit the ceiling of progress, just because like in the company, like Joe and the Juice, you know, like Joe was meant to be a cup of coffee, but no one realized that, you know. And then like juice and sandwich is kind of like the main product, which is understandable because it's popular, it's nice, and it brings a lot of profit, and why not investing in that? But like for me, I'm genuinely loving coffee so much, and I'm just here to share the love. For that to be not even secondary, probably it's third or maybe it's fourth, was quite soul crushing for me. And then also for me, like I see that like my coffee world is really big, and I feel I don't want to be tied to just do QC for just one single coffee, on all the stores, and every day it kind of just it's the same coffee I'm working on. And I want to see the coffee world, not a corporate world. So I think at that point, money doesn't matter that much, and it just for me, like my true love is in coffee. And then so for me, like usually when I'm feeling stuck, I want to grow. Like I want to learn new things. That's just been a common theme in my life. So I think like one thing that I was thinking, okay, if I'm not tasting enough coffee, I want to push myself to try to taste coffee. So I just signed up for Cup Taster. So I just pushed myself. I have to taste coffee as a project.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And that was the next step.
Yeah, that was the next step.
And here we are now.
Yeah.
For the first time in your life, working with not really people anymore for the first time in your life, like literally forever, right? And working with coffee beans every day. You and the beans.
Yeah, Gene and the Beans.
Gene and the Beans.
New rock band name drop.
That's a perfect name, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we were saying last time I saw you, I was kind of like, oh, what are you up to for the rest of the day? And it was like, it's me and
the beans,
literally in a room with them, which is but that's a huge difference from everything you've ever done.
Yeah,
because everything's been so people focused for your whole life. Like your life has revolved around people.
Yeah.
And obviously there's still people very heavily involved here, but it's like even how many words you say per day must be like cutting like must be like 10% of what used to be all your life.
Pretty much. Yeah, you're right.
Is that how was that transition?
Definitely another reality check for me. I think like I just jump into like the most extreme scenarios, and then just life just teaching me big lessons quite quickly. But I would say like I really love coffee, so I think like whatever to do with coffee just teach me new things that I'm very grateful for. This is definitely a really demanding job in a very different way compared to every single job that I've done before. Like you were saying, it's nothing to do with people anymore. It's literally just me and the beans. And quite a lot of times not excellent beans, just because like, you know, as a context now we're working at QC for the Wayfield, which is a coffee import company. So we're just doing a lot of like samples and all that. And then like, you know, the best coffees, like we see a lot in the social media, maybe like Best of Panama, you know, like Geisha Village auction in Ethiopia and all that. They are like really high profile beans that actually don't need us to QC for. You know, we don't need that. But the things that we need QC is maybe like small farms or like maybe lower grade coffee that just they need someone just to be the gatekeeper. So which means that most of the coffee that we're drinking are questionable coffees. So in the morning, like, you know, I'm cupping like, we're in the department, we cup more than 100 cups of coffee. Like, but they are like, potentially can be questionable. So quite a defect sometimes. Or like borderline 80, hey, you have to make a decision. Is it above 80 or below 80? Quite a lot of Robusta sometimes, like for like, specific customers, and the afternoon would just be like grading green beans, hand picking beans out and finding defects and all that. So it was just like such a different world. I never done anything like that before, and you can easily, if you're really busy, you don't need to talk to anyone.
Yeah, is that nice or?
No, I kind of just miss like I really miss like talking to people, and then like I just remember like this week I got this like really crazy moment. Like it was literally me in the afternoon, 3 hours not talking to anyone. I'm just going crazy, and I actually start talking to beans.
What do you talk to them about?
Just like there's this one bean that have like one sample that have so many broken beans. I'm just like, wow, you're as broken as me. Like, and then like, and then there's a defect like called shell, and then there's an outer inner shell that look like ears. So we call it ears. And I was like, shh, don't listen to secrets because you got ears and things like that. Just like seriously, so damn, I'm so sorry. But like, yeah, I'm just.
We need
crazy.
To be making a documentary about Jean and the beans, to be honest, like, and the conversations you have with them.
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Well, we're always here should you need to have a conversation with a real person.
Thank you.
We're here for you. I think I probably speak for many people in the industry as well who just absolutely love talking to you and love hanging out. So
yeah.
But it's been a pleasure talking to you today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Wondrous journey and all its twists and turns, and I think we're all super excited to see what you do next as well.
Thank you. I hope it's nothing too crazy anymore. Please.
She's like, I want a quiet life now with the bean.